All right, well, this will be a short demo of our piping takeoff, and we're going to start here with an underground plumbing takeoff. But really quick here, just to get started, a few things about our takeoff screen. This screen is 100% customizable, and so you can see, for example, I've got my size palette here floating. Any one of these palettes, I can grab my pipe palette and make this float somewhere. Any one of these palettes can be taken out, resized, and so forth. And so if you have multiple monitors, one screen, two screen, three screens, ultra high def, I know they've got some crazy technology out there, and our program, our Takeoff can handle it. This is because we rebuilt our program recently within the past 5 years in the latest technology that is just equipped to handle that type of high definition monitor capability. And so that's just a quick kind of background about the Takeoff program you're looking here. But we're going to start with some takeoff here. And first you'll notice I have my 4-inch size selected, and you'll see in a moment why I have this size palette floating here. It's mostly for accessibility reasons while I'm doing takeoff. And so just to make that go faster for you, but if we're going to start with this two-way clean out here, there's a couple things we can do. Now you can just scale pipe by just clicking that pipe button down there and just simply taking off pipe. You can go right through the fittings or blow past it, whatever the case may be. And so taking things off is very simple. Likewise with fittings, you can just grab a fitting. You can grab this Y here, and you can take that off. And so just very simple. But we also have this form of takeoff called auto pipe that goes from fitting to fitting. So if I grab the same Y and I go from Y to Y, it's going to put that pipe in between for me. And likewise, if I carry on from there. And so that's what we call our auto pipe. But the fastest form of takeoff that we have, now both of those, I should just say real quick, both of those are very easy to get down. As you can see, the concept is super simple. Anybody can do a takeoff in our program, literally the first day they open it up. But what I want to show you now is our auto pipe with quick keys takeoff. And what quick keys are is I have keys set up on my keyboard. If you look at that picture down the bottom right, as I'm changing keys here, it's going to be changing fittings. And you take off 20% of the fittings 80% of the time, and so we want to make sure that we capture your most common fittings on here. And I'll show you how easy it is for me to do an underground takeoff with this sort of setup. Now I don't have my two-way clean out set to a quick key. Perhaps I should, because I always demo with this drawing. But regardless here, we'll start with this two-way clean out. And I'm going to go pretty fast through this, but try to kind of explain what I'm doing here and as I go. And so we'll start here, and then we'll go to this Y. I've got a Y there and a Y there. We'll kind of continue on with the drawing here. We've got a combo. We've got a reducing Y by 2-inch. Place that. Go to my combo. Place that. Go to my combo here. Carry on here, and then I've got a 90 at the end, or quarter bend there at the end. We'll just double click to end that run. And so then coming back here to come off this branch here, I can grab my 45, and we'll just simply hotspot off of here and place that 45, go down to my Y here, and we'll go from Y to Y, we'll go to my elbow, and then down here to my combo, place one there, and go back to my quarter bend and place that in the wall. Right. For each one of these assemblies here, I've got assemblies down at the bottom, and again, I have this tabbed at the bottom, but of course I could have this list pinned to the side or in the middle or just floating on a second monitor, whatever the case may be. But I also have this sorted by the W's here, so I've got a water closet, floor mount tank alone, PVC. So we'll grab that. We show you a picture of the assembly here as well as a bill of materials for what's in the assembly. And so this makes sure that whether you created this assembly or using one out of the box or using one that a colleague has created in the office, regardless, you get to see as the estimator what is in that assembly as you're accounting for it. And that can, of course, this list can be adjusted on the fly, or if there's not something in there that you know you need, you can account for that separately. And so so it's nice to have that bill of materials there. For each one of these assemblies, I'm just going to simply take off an assembly at each location here. And oops, got an extra click in there. Go ahead and delete that. And then for these labs here, we're probably going to service those in the wall, and that'll be part of our top out rough in phases there. And so so for this, we'll just put some vertical pipe here in the wall. So we'll just hit vertical, and we'll say maybe we need 10 feet there, and just place that. Right. And so now each one of these, notice I didn't take off this section here, each one of these assemblies, if I click on that, includes 3 feet of 4-inch pipe. And so it has the pipe there to go from here to here. I know that just because I know these assemblies, but again, you can see that from the bill of materials. Again, to continue out up here, I'll grab my 45. We'll start by connecting from this section here. Go to my 45. I've got a reducing Y down to 2-inch. Go ahead and grab that there. We'll keep this one 2-inch. We'll put 1.5 under the ground. Take that off. Go to my combo, and then to my quarter bend into the wall. And then likewise, if I needed a stub right here, I can go ahead and just grab my vertical pipe and say that was 4 feet or so, and place that. Right, and so then coming off of this here, I can change to 2-inch, grab my 45, and you notice I have this size palette here because this stops me from having to go back down here and select it. I like to have this floating here so I can just change my size, hit my hotkey, and continue on from there. And so we'll start with that item. We'll go to this 45 here. And then in this case, we'll probably want to end with pipe because we'll have an assembly for that, or maybe we'll just go with a 90 up into the wall here. And just end with that, right? And same deal here. Now these are very, very, very similar, right? So I can simply just highlight these right here, Control C, Control V, kind of line it up, and take that off. Lastly, for this guy here, I've got another water closet assembly. We've just used that guy before, and so I'll go ahead and take that off, right? And so you see pretty quickly I could do this this underground page here in just a matter of a few minutes. I'm basically almost done. And so when it comes time to move on to the next system here, we're going to create a new zone. And the zone here, this is going to be a domestic water. And so we'll go ahead and just grab my copper domestic water. You'll notice I have a pre-made list of specs here. And these specs all come out of the box pre-made, set to what is pretty typical for these specs. Of course, they can be adjusted and so forth. But we've got acid waste, compressed air, condensate drain, demo, various domestic water specs for Uponor, ProPress, or copper sweat, gas, equipment for taking off equipment and so forth, and fixtures, med gas, medical vac, MG vac. We've got the above grade PVC, below grade PVC, and so forth, above and below grade cast iron. We've got service weight and the cast iron with the Husky bands, storm above and below grade as well. And so, you know, all of these come just pre-made out of the box. So I'm going to select my domestic water. This is still the west wing of the building, so I'm not going to change this west wing as a zone name. And what that's going to do is it's going to combine together these items if I want to see them combined together. So if I want to know all of the labor in the west wing, I can see that. Or if I want to know all of the labor in the domestic water in the west wing, I can see that broken out separate. So each one of these categories, including drawing and floor or phase, which we will now call the first floor, all become a way that you can break out your drawing later. And I want to show you real quick while we're here how we can do that. So I'm going to go out to this Excel file here. Okay, it popped up on my other screen here, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this over. And this is an example of our final Excel sheet. And what I want to focus on here is the summary. And so we were just talking about various breakouts in your job. So you see I have this job broken out. This is I've got 400,000 in material, about almost 3,500 hours. And so you want to see what your breakdown is here by the various sections. And so you see the first floor versus the underground, the way that I have it set right now. But that first floor's got 2,600 hours, the underground's 538, and so you probably want to see that broken down to the next step. And so if we add zone to that, now you'll be able to see the east wing from the mechanical room, from the west wing, and you see that east wing and west wing underground breaks out into 242 and 295, and then we've got the labor for the above ground as well as the cost of just the materials in that section. This cost down here below is including the job item cost, so that's going to be your fixtures and so forth. And so now if I go ahead and pull this drop down here, I can add spec to this as well. And so in just one click of a button, it automatically resorts everything, and you see this entire first section here is all the first floor. And in the east wing, for example, we've got 333 on the chill water, 206 on the domestic water, 1788 on the gas, and so forth. And so this becomes a real handy report that can be used to get a schedule of values, to get a breakout by area, by phase, by spec, or zone. And we can even do the same breakout, but also provide you with a detailed list of materials in that section. So on this detail tab, you'll notice I have the same ability to do the same breakouts here, so I can do floor, zone, and spec, just like we were looking at. And if I hit this one in the top left, we're going to collapse all these. This is that same summary view, what you're looking at here in the bold, but if you notice, this is an 814 line item spreadsheet. So any one of these, if I'm going to see that mechanical room domestic water, for example, I just expand this out, and this shows me the domestic water here in the mechanical room. And so, so again, very easy to not only get breakouts here, but a lot of our customers will use this maybe to order, the first phase of materials, depending on how detailed your takeoff is, or at the very least, just to get an idea of what your labor is and what materials were included in the initial takeoff in the program. This can also be used as the quick aside. I don't want to spend too much time here, but we can hide various columns here. Labor and material adjustments and so forth, to where all I have now is quantity, size, description, unit price, price total, labor total, and this is the kind of thing that you could then print out to a PDF and take with you to argue over, say, a change order or something like that, if you want to kind of back up where that number is coming from without showing all of the massaging of the industry standard PHCC, MCA, whatever labor factors you're using, or Quotesoft labor, whatever kind of number of massaging you're doing on that remains hidden, and you just see the final number. And so we'll go ahead and minimize that for now, but that's just I wanted to show you that while we were in this context of this section here. So again, I got domestic water, west wing. I'm going to hit OK to create my next zone, and we'll go ahead and expand this out to get a little more, a few more sizes here. All right, so for my domestic water, I'm going to select the 2.5 inch here, and our first fitting here is a 90, so we'll go ahead and grab that 90. We'll go down to a butterfly valve and grab that. We'll grab my 90 after that. We've got a gate valve. Go ahead and pick those up. Grab a butterfly valve, pick that up. We've got a reducing T that goes down to 1 over here to the right, and then another reducing T that goes down to 2 here for the left, and then I'll go ahead and change to 2. Grab my ball valve, and the auto pipe continues from there. So I don't have to start again. I just change size and keep rocking my way through. With this water heater assembly, I'll go down to assemblies. I still, pretty nice, got that sorted by W, but if not, I could go ahead and change that. And of course, water heater, we're looking for our 2 inch. We'll say with the recirc pump, and again, just like the previous one, it shows you the picture here, which we can make bigger, by the way. I have it kind of small in the corner there. And then a list of materials that are in there as well. So I can go ahead and take that off. And then to start with the hot water here, I'll grab my 90. And I've got my colors here. If I want to change this over to red, it's real quick, just to boom, grab that new color. We'll go from fitting to fitting to fitting. And then we've got a reducing T here down to 3/4, or I guess it's 1/2 inch, but you get the idea. And we'll go ahead and place that. All right, we won't do this in full takeoff, but I do like to show you that we separate these colors here, and we actually have these colors separate on the audit trail as well as the previous zone we're working on. So you notice here's our entire west wing takeoff. I've got this audit trail here sorted by zone and spec, and so you see my domestic water here and my sanitary. And what's helpful about this is if I drag this audit trail out here, and where we can make better use of it, I can easily sort and filter by any of these categories. So for example, if I'm going to sort by the color, I just simply grab this, grab my red. Now you'll notice if I go to my drawing, only the red is showing. Right, so if I want to filter out just my hot water, and if I want to make a change, I can highlight all of that, go to edit in my global here, and I can change insulation thickness, I can change hangers, whatever I need to change in here, the size, and so forth. I can tag it as area, phase, system, tag. These are additional tags that we can use per item factor for labor, multiples, and so forth. And we'll go ahead and clear that filter out. Likewise, if I wanted to, say, take off everything that was say 2.5 and make it 3 inch, I could just simply filter this, everything that's 2.5. It's going to show me all of that. I can just highlight this here again, go to global. I can change everything that's 2.5 over to 3. Hit OK. Clear the filter. Now this is all 3 inch, including my reducing T's and everything. So very easy for me to make changes after the fact, and a double click just kind of bops that audit trail back where it was over to the right. Okay, so we've been at this for a little while on the domestic water side here. Let's switch over to the mechanical piping side. And so for the mechanical piping side, I'm going to go ahead and grab the new zone here. And first thing I have to do is I have to grab a spec. Now this is a plumbing job. I don't have all of my mechanical specs in here, but if I realize I needed them, I can import specs directly while in the project. And so I can go to my heating and cooling template here. We'll just grab this, say this copper by weld here, chilled water spec, and we'll play with that one. Right, so this is still in the west wing. But this is a different, you'll notice the drawing here is quite different, but we'll say it's still in the west wing. And then we'll go ahead and grab my file. Now I also don't have this file located in the job, but never fear, I can go out and grab it. We'll just go to my demo drawings pipe, and we'll just go ahead and grab this guy right here and hit open. Right, and so we'll call this drawing M1. And actually, this drawing is significantly different, so we'll just say this is the east wing, right? So we'll hit OK. So this drawing opens up here, and again, it's going to be a very similar type of takeoff that we're going to do here. So I've got my sizing located. I can go ahead and expand this out just to get rid of that scroll bar, just because that the scroll bar bugs me. But from here, we'll start with this 2-inch here. So I'll select 2-inch. And again, I can use the same hotkeys that I used before. Even though it's a 1/4 bend in one spec and a 90 in the other, it's going to be the same hotkey the way I have this set up. And so, and again, I've got pipe, I've got ball valves, I've got all this stuff here loaded on a hotkey that I can use. And so we'll start with our 90 here, and then we'll go to our ball valve. We'll go to our T here, another 90. And then we'll go over, this is going to be a reducing T down to 3/4 to pick that up. We'll continue on over here. This is going to be another reducing T by 3/4. We'll go ahead and pick that up. We'll grab this 90 here. And then looks like we're going to go down to 1.5 inches. And so we'll go ahead and grab a reducer here down to 1.5 inches. And then we'll grab our new size, 1.5 inches. Our next fitting is a T by 3/4. So we'll go ahead and grab that, and you'll notice it just continues on in the doing the auto pipe takeoff. Looks like we're reducing down to 1.25 inches here, so I'm going to grab an 1.25 inch reducer, take that off, grab 1.25 inches. My next fitting is a 1.25 inch by 3/4 T, and we'll go ahead and take that off right here, and just continue down this line. Looks like we're going to reduce down to 1 inch, and so we will say reduce down to 1 inch. Grab my 1 inch, grab my 1 inch by 3/4 T, take that off, and that looks like we're reducing down to 3/4. We'll grab my 3/4, change to 3/4. My next fitting is actually a 90, I believe. Yep, it's a 90, so we'll grab that, and then a double click at the end to finish our run. And so, again, I'm able to do this, basically this entire supply here. We could carry it on this way as well. And then when it comes time to take off the return for this, I can simply just highlight all of this, right-click copy, right-click paste. We'll change the color over here just to signify that it's the return. I'll line it up where it goes. And we've accounted for the supply and return. Right, and so again, takeoff goes pretty fast. Now for each one of these assemblies here, these are 3/4 fan coil hookups. If I go out to my assemblies, we have the ability, I'm going to have to import these in from my heating and cooling template. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the import button here. And of course, popped up another screen. Let me go ahead and drag this over. And we'll go to my templates, heating and cooling, and I've got a full list of assemblies here. There's more than 300 different assemblies here for coils, chillers, pumps, boilers, and so forth, and the heating and cooling side. And so for this, we'll just grab, this will be a cooling coil, 3/4 inch, no temperature control valve. Go ahead and grab that, and then we'll just simply take one of these off at each section here. And so now that's on my list under C. Go ahead and grab that assembly, and we've got one here, one here, one here, and you get the idea. Right, and so really easy to account for those, and it shows you the name that's on the assembly as well, so you know exactly what you've taken off, and on the screen. All right, so that's been just a short demonstration of how we do this takeoff. Of course, we can go into a bit more detail when we get into an actual demo, but just wanted to walk through the way the takeoff works there. All right, I want to demonstrate one other aspect of our takeoff program here that I want to cover as well, and that is going to be changes in elevation when you go through a floor and so forth. The quickest way to account for everything that you need when going through that floor. For example, if we're coming through the floor right here, we're going to need a floor sleeve, and that floor sleeve is going to need to be sized according to the insulation thickness. We're also going to need either a T or a 90, whether that continues up or that 90 is over right there. And then we're also going to need a riser clamp. And so if I go down to my assemblies here, and again, I can pin this and kind of drag these out if I want to just kind of focus on having these assemblies available here. And you'll notice I have a few different assemblies here. This is a floor sleeve with just the 90. And the way that this works, if I select 2 inch, this is a variable assembly. So if I select 2 inch, and then I select this assembly, it knows my size is 2 inch, but it wants to know what my vertical run is here. So if I need however many feet I need to get through the floor here, I may just need a few feet, and hit save. And this is going to give me a floor sleeve, riser clamp, and 90. So I can just simply take this off, and I can seamlessly transition from this to the ball valve, to the T, to the 90, and on we go. Right? And likewise, if I had a change in elevation at any point, let's say maybe at this T right here, I've got a vertical with 190, so if this just goes up and over, then fair enough. But if it goes 90s up and then 90s over, I've got a vertical with 290s assembly. And so the way these work, likewise, they pull right off of the sizing that you have selected, and then you just have to put in what the vertical amount is. And so if this is an elevation change of, say, 5 feet, we would just simply select that, and then we would place that assembly. And then as I continue on, it's just the next, whatever the next fitting is in the row here. So if it's going to be my reducing T down to 1 or wherever that goes, I can take that off. And so, you know, again, these assemblies that we've created, they kind of help you to capture more than one item at a time. We have a very impressive library of assemblies, whether it be for equipment hookups, fixture hookups in wall, underground hookups for water closets like we looked at, you know, or like I said, boilers, chillers, cooling coils, but also kind of more takeoff functional assemblies like these here that can really speed up the time it takes you to do simple takeoffs where you'd have to add vertical pipe and 290s independently, but it's going to capture that all at the same time. But in a seamless way that pulls from whatever size you have selected and allows you to just continue with the takeoff from there. And so again, I hope this was a good little introduction into the program. We'd like to do a full demo with you to show you everything that the program is capable of, and hope to get a chance to do that. Thank you.